All right, so we've looked at putting people down with takedowns that give us minimal connection once we land. Any kind of foot sweeps, anything where there's a lot of distance between us. All right, the best kind of takedowns that we can land are chest-to-chest takedowns where we're past our partner's legs or even inside of our partner's legs. Any kind of chest-to-chest takedown where we land with the inside position, and it's very hard to create a scrimmage and to create space from bottom position. Like a lat drop, for example. That's one of the best takedowns insofar as landing. But with takedowns where I just hit a Diashi and I put my partner down and now there's not really any connection, a lot of things can happen from there, right? Whether I land in front of the legs, in front of the hips, or past the hips, my partner has a lot of different options. And our goal is to take those options from many options and break them down into 2 or 3 paths she has to take where I know exactly what the reactions have to be. I can counter pretty easily from there. With single legs, it's a similar situation because we're always looking to control 2 of our partner's hips, and we're looking to play the same game between trying to keep them with their hips pointing up towards the ceiling. If they start to turn belly down, slowing them down enough to get to the far wrist, and if they do turn belly down, then just going in and attacking turtle. So it's very similar, but there are some key differences because I do have more of a connection when I actually put my partner down. When I have a single leg, whether it be head inside, head outside, high single, whatever the case is, when I put my partner down, I have a connection to the leg already. So I don't have to go in and grab the leg and control the leg because I already have it. So when I put my partner down with a single leg, as their butt hits the floor, I already have the leg controlled, and this gives me a little bit extra advantage because of the fact that there is a connection going down. So when she tries the heist, it's not like I have to grab the leg and then you come forward, put her down first, and then grab the leg second. I put her down and I already have the leg. So we'll go into a lot of similar things from single leg, but looking at the key differences on how it's easier for me to win the scrimmage, or at least if she stands up, get to an advantage and get to a situation where I'm in an advantage because I already have the leg and I can bring it up higher, switch from a low single up to a high single, bring it high, and go into attacks from there. So we're going to look at the similarities and differences from putting someone down at distance, at range, versus putting them down with a single leg where I already have connection. What's up, guys? We are back months later. We have different hairs, different clothes, different everything. I'm probably like a little bit less fat than I was last time, but I'm not 100% sure. But we're back. So we're going to go into such a drastic change in looks from like the last time we filmed. My hair is like way longer. My beard's a lot shorter. So this is probably shocking to you guys, but it's okay. We're going to go into some single legs now and look at putting our partner down when we actually have a connection to our partner. And we have to make the distinction between head inside and head outside singles because we're going to land in a little bit different fashions. If I let my partner go down before me, okay, where she hits the ground first and then I follow my partner down, they don't really make too much of a difference. But if I'm following my partner down with a head inside or head outside single, it changes a little bit. With a head inside single, I'm really just going to always put my partner down before me. I'm not going to fall down to like my knees or my hip. I'm always going to let them fall first. But sometimes when I have a head outside single, I can get dragged down with my partner where she can force me into a situation where I'm pulled on top of her, and she can force me into things like crackdown and things like this, where it gets a little bit tricky because obviously we're doing jiu-jitsu and not wrestling. And we have to look at the similarities and differences between head inside and head outside single when we actually fall down with our partner, landing on top of our partner from a head inside single and having a height advantage versus having my partner pull me down into a crackdown or 2 completely different positions. So we have to look at the similarities and differences between the head outside and the head inside single, and then putting our partner down first or following our partner down to the floor, or our partner dragging us down to the floor with them to go into counter offense. So a lot of different intricacies here that we're going to go over between head outside and head inside single. So we also have to talk about low singles versus high singles. Low singles is where we have the leg down nice and low like so. It can be between the legs, it can be outside the leg, whatever the case is. And we put our partner down from here. We also have high singles where our partner will fall in different configurations, whether it be fall into a hip, fall into a shin, fall into to her butt and her back. There'll be different configurations in which my partner falls, contingent upon where my partner's leg is relative to my hip. And so sometimes we have a low single, like so. Sometimes we have an inside hip, high single. Or now when I go to put my partner down, either I expose her back right off the bat, or from here, I put her down and she's more likely to fall to her butt. Okay, I'm falling outside the legs, where now if I put my partner down from this position, she falls. Now I fall outside the leg, so we have to be able to follow my partner from here. Or I have a high single on the outside hip here. Right now we're going to put my partner down. Now I'm falling more inside the legs, and we're going to fall in a little bit different configuration from here. All right, so we come through, and now we fall, when my partner falls to the floor, we fall between the legs. So now we have the controller partner being between the legs, making sure she doesn't post feet on my hips, kick off, and go into all of our defenses from there. So there's differences with single legs, where we have low singles, like we normally would between the legs, where now when she falls, I have her legs split, like so. And then we have high singles on the inside hip, where we're falling outside the legs, or the outside hip, where we're falling inside the legs. Where now when she goes to fall down and caught between the legs, she can post on the hips, she can put me in guard, she can do all kinds of things from here. So there's going to be different ways of that my partner can fall, which look very similar if you're just watching a match, but the intricacies on how you're landing relative to your partner, what body position you're in, all make a big difference when things are happening quickly and your partner's trying to avoid a score and get back up to their feet or go to counter offense. All right, so just a basic head inside single. Whenever we have a head inside single, we have a low single, and we're going to put our partner down. We're always going to look to put our partner down first from here. Whenever I can, this is just my philosophy on takedowns. Whenever I can, I always allow my partner to fall first so I can see what's going on. Like I never want to be in a position where we both fall down and I get dragged into a crackdown, for example, where my head's buried in the mat. She can see what's going on and I can't really see what's going on. If I'm standing over my partner in a position like this, I know exactly what's going on. I can see her full body. I know where all of her limbs are. I know exactly what's going on and I can react accordingly. Whereas if, for example, we fall down in a head outside single, we fall down with her and she sits up. Now, I don't really know what's going on. I can't see what's going on. I'm looking at the floor. My back's already exposed from here and just things can go sideways. So whenever I can, I always put my partner down first with this head outside single. I just let my partner fall first and then I react accordingly from there. So what I mean by this is I'm not running the pipe and then follow my partner down here and she sits up. Now she's wrapping guillotine, she's wrapping kimura, she's doing all kinds of things from here. It just gives her more connection and more ability to create some kind of counter offense right as we land. Whereas when I take her down, I still have control of the leg. So I know exactly what's going on from here. When she goes to start counter offense or goes to stand up from this position, it's going to be a hard thing for her to do. And we can get that score, secure her for 3 to 5 seconds, and get our win. So we're going to be looking at situations where I have a head inside single. We have a low single. We put her down. We let her go down first. Now we start our score and play our game right from here. Okay, so whenever I can, with head outside singles, I'm always letting my partner, just takedowns in general, most of the time, unless you can land in a chest-to-chest connection, which we'll talk about later. But most of the time, I'm letting her fall down first, rather than following her down, and then making adjustments as we go from there. All right, so now let's look at different ways my opponent can fall. It's similar to the section where we put our partner down and we didn't have a connection, but now we have the luxury of controlling one of our partner's legs. Okay, so when we put our partner down from this low single head inside, we put our partner down like so. We have control of the leg. So the first thing I want to do, the second we fall, is I want to control one of my partner's legs to make it so she can't heist from here. So if we put her right down to the butt, she falls down to the butt, she falls down to her back. This is the worst case scenario for scrimmaging for her. The second I see that we put my partner down, all we're going to do is we're going to hold one leg. So if she tries to get up and heist, she can only heist in one direction here. Okay. The second I see that she starts sitting up and starts going to get into a heisting position here, all we're going to look to do is we're going to look to hustle her down by controlling both of her hips through my left knee. So I'm just going to control my partner's one leg. If I lose both legs, now she can heist in this direction or in that direction. So she can go either side. So I force her to only be able to heist in one direction. So right from here, as I put her down, all we're going to look to do is we're going to come through, we're going to grab a collar tie here. We're going to shelf the leg with our right hand, and we're just going to drive our left knee right down to the right hip. So when she goes to get up from here, we completely control both of my partner's hips. Now when she goes to start a heisting motion, good, get up, we just float on top of her. We just stay with her head right between my elbows. So now when she goes to move from here, the only way that she can physically do it is by exposing her back, and it's a losing game for her, okay, which we'll look at in a second. All right, so when I put my partner down, okay, it's not like we just put her down right from here, and now we don't have a leg control, or now she goes to kick at my legs and push my hips, and there's distance, there's range. There's no range from here. When I go to put my partner down from this head inside single, when she goes to kick on my hips, she can't do it. I've already closed the distance from here. So right from here, the only thing that she can do is start to heist. So as she goes to heist, we take away one heisting leg. And now right from here, as she goes to get up, we go collar tie, and we make sure we have a knee-elbow connection. We don't want this leg coming inside, so now she can punch into Ashigarami and go into attacks on me. So we go collar tie, knee to elbow. When she tries to go into Ashigarami, she can't. She tries to go into a heist, it's going to be hard. So we can control her and get the score. So we put her down to a butt, and we hustle her down. And we can control her right from there. So we can control initial heisting leg, and we form a knee-elbow connection, which stops the Ashigarami, a dilemma between Ashigarami and heisting. She can't go into Ashigarami, and we control a far hip with our knee, which makes heisting impossible because we have control of both hips and both legs. Okay, so now this time, we put our partner down to a knee, and she's better at scrimmaging this time, and she's in a much better position. Instead of hitting her butt, she gets a knee, and now she gets our scrimmaging from here. My two general paths are right from this position. I can come in, and she's going to be posting. She's going to have a hand here, so it's going to be hard to close the distance and get right to a body lock. If she doesn't do anything, then we can just come forward and climb right to my partner's back and start working into body locks, but kind of unrealistic if your partner knows what she's doing. And she falls to a knee, she probably knows what she's doing. So right from here, our two general ideas is that we can take it to an inside hip and go to a far side tight waist, where now when she goes to scrimmage up, we just run towards the far hip and we expose our partner's back, okay? So the first one is we put her down to a knee. From here, if my partner's naive and she's just doing nothing, then we can just chase her back right from here. She's gonna have hands between me and her. So when I try to close the distance, it's gonna be hard. So the first thing we can do is we can shelf it right away to the inside hip and lock an Achilles. Now, right from here, we go far tight waist. As she goes to get up, go ahead. We just run across to the far hip, and we start exposing the back. Now we can chase internal position and go into attacks from here. Okay? Or, number two, is we step the opposite leg back, we take it to the outside hip, here. Once we go to the outside hip, now we're just gonna come in, we're gonna take a big step with our left leg, and we just switch from an Achilles to a false grip. So as she has hands between me and her, we can just step in and get right to a reverse collar tie. Now as she goes to get up ahead, we just lift, we just run everything down, okay? So we can take it to the inside or to the outside hip. So we shake, 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 we go here. Now, as she goes to get up, we bring the reverse collar tie down to tuck her chin to her chest, and we lift the leg up, and we just start running towards the far hip once again. So as she goes to get up, good. We make it hard. Now, right from here, we're in the same position we were just in. As she goes to heist, control a heisting leg. She goes to get up, we switch to a collar tie. We form a knee and elbow connection. Now when she goes to move, we can control and get our score. Okay, so we go inside hip, just underneath. We go inside hip. Here, she goes to score, or goes to get back up. We win. Okay? If at any point we can get above the knee, even better. The main thing is we run to the far hip. Or we land here, 1, or we land here, 2. Okay? We can switch initially here. So if she does get up, we have an Achilles. But if she stays here for any amount of time, we move right here, and we catch. The only way we can catch from distance is take a step with that leg. Now as she goes to get up, we just run, run, run. Now we crowd. Now she goes to heist. We make it hard. Okay? This time, my partner's a little bit better at scrimmaging. Instead of falling down to her butt and to her back, she falls to a shin and to a knee. We can, if she's naive, just go right to the body. She's always gonna have hands in front of us. So instead, we either shelf it on the inside hip, and then we run towards the far hip, or we shelf it on the outside hip, and then we run towards the far hip. We either end up behind our partner or on top of our partner. All right, so this time our opponent falls not all the way to her back, like she's just all the way down in her back and she's just beat. She's just a guard player, just a jiu-jitsu guy, basically doesn't know how to fall. But she doesn't fall down to her knee. A lot of times you get like a hybrid between the two of she doesn't quite fall down to her back, but she doesn't fall all the way down to her knee. And she kind of falls and she doesn't really expect to go that far and ends up kind of on the hip, like kind of sideways like this. So it's not completely stranded on the back like so, but it's also not up on the knee in a good position to actually scrimmage. So she lands kind of side on, where you shake the guy down. We end up somewhere like this, okay? Right from here, a lot of times I can just step in with my left leg, join that knee and elbow together, and when she goes to heist, we can beat her from here. But a lot of times, she's like, nope, I'm not accepting this. So what she'll do from here is, because she's already halfway belly down, is she'll extend this leg through, and then I can start crowding a little bit better from here. Whenever I see, and we can start crowding our partner from this position, now we can start going in and taking underhook near side. We can start going in and we can start taking claw grips. We can go in and we can start taking body locks. We can start making upper body grips where we can close the distance between myself and my partner. If I can get a body lock from here, now when she goes to scrimmage, good luck. Okay, you're gonna control her every time. Okay? So if I ever see my partner land side on, she has a choice between going completely belly up, which she's not gonna want, or going belly down. And there's a lot of things that happen from here, but if I see that she just tries to outright heist, then we can just go to the default positions that we looked at before. If I see that from here, she's trying to go into a belly down position, we can start closing the gap between my chest and her chest. And if we can get any kind of diagonal control, upper body inside position, we're gonna pin her chest to chest and get our score. So if at any point I put her down, if I put her down just outright to her back, she just falls like a guard player like this. Now when she goes to heist, it's gonna be way too late. Like when she goes to get up to her elbow from here, I can keep her relatively upright. If from here, I put her down, she's a good wrestler, and she falls to a knee and shit. Okay, now we're scrimmaging, all right? So there's gonna be some hybrids sometimes where you go to put her down, and she falls kind of to a hip, and she's like, oh man, what do I do from here? And she ends up kind of like this. Okay, now, when I try to flatten her out a lot of times, she's already halfway up. So I try to come in, I make that college high, and as I try to do this, she just shoots her leg through, and she's already trying to scrimmage up. Whenever I see this is the perfect time now to start coming in and start getting underhook near side. And we'll look at transitions to the upper body a little bit later. But look, getting underhook near side, getting to a far wrist and leg ride, getting to the arm comes across, getting to a claw grip, exposing the back, exposing pins, getting our scores from here, okay? We'll look at transitions where we land chest to chest and start leg riding a little bit later. And of course, I've been promising a leg riding instructional for 5 years now. It's gonna come eventually, but not yet. But whenever I see that she lands in this kind of hybrid between ready to scrimmage, ready to play guard, and she has to make a decision, if she capitulates down to her back and just accepts this position, now it's time for me to go in and start passing after I get my score. If she tries to heist from here, a lot of times it's a little bit too late for me to come in and force her down to her back. And she's like, you know what, I'm gonna get up from here. So if I see that she wants to scrimmage, a lot of times it's her leg versus my hand. She just shoots that leg through, now I can start making a connection. Now when she goes to get up from here, you can start leg riding, plugging game, flattening her out, and going into all of my attacks after I get a score from there. Okay, so we have a couple of different positions. We have number one, how am I taking my partner down? Number two, how are they falling? If they fall like a jiu-jitsu guy, it's easy. You go back to 1999, you hit a takedown, the guy's like, yes, ready to play guard. It's easy score, okay? if you see that you're dealing with a good wrestler, you put a guy down, they're always playing here, trying to get back up, not taking bottom position. And if you see sometimes you're dealing with like a kind of hybrid jiu-jitsu kind of wrestler, kind of like what we're seeing modern day, where guys are like they don't have the wherewithal to not get put all the way down, but they don't want to go all the way down. They'll kind of land like not all the way on their shin, but not all the way on their back, and they'll end somewhere like this. Like they know that they can't just accept the score, but they also didn't land on their knee because they're just not, maybe the takedown was good, the mechanics were good, or they just got caught off guard, whatever the case is. They end up here, and now they have a choice between falling to the back and playing guard or getting up. And a lot of times the heist isn't available, so they're just like, you know what? Kick the leg through and try to scissor and avoid the score, go to turtle for 3 seconds, and then pull guard, stand back up, whatever the case is. Okay, so you have a couple different ways of following your partner, falling to their back, falling to their shin, or kind of a hybrid between the two where they're kind of on their hip, on their elbow, ready to heist or ready to play guard. And you have to make a choice, and they have to make a choice of where you guys are going next. All right, so now what you start to see is a lot of times you put a guy down and you're like, oh shit, I don't want to accept a takedown. I'm going to go right to turtle. So the second you put a guy down, they immediately are like, nope, I'm going belly down. So as they're falling, they fall away from you and they turn their chest down to the floor and they take 2 hands to one side. Whenever I see this, you have to have a hardwired instinct, an ingrained habit of moving right to the back and climbing up the body. Now, understand, when you put someone down and you let them fall before you, you're going to naturally drift below the knee. So the grip that you have is going to drift below their knee, and you're going to start to have to climb back up the leg, up to the waist. So when I put my partner down from here, and I shake, she falls and she turns immediately belly down. And you see, I let her fall first. I'm a little bit below the knee. So the second she goes to move away, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to climb up above the knee, turn belly down. Okay, right from here. So we just go in. We get any kind of grip above the knee. Now, depending on how your hands are placed, this is all happening fast. You just need one hand above the knee. It doesn't really make a difference which one. I just need one hand above the knee. And then from here, I just work on climbing up my partner's leg. Whether it be an inside scoop first or an outside scoop first, it's all happening very quickly. So if I grab with my left hand outside the knee and she goes to run away, then we switch to an inside scoop. Then we switch to an outside scoop. Then we switch to the waist. Okay. If we have the inside hand grabbing, and we switch to an outside scoop. Now when she goes to move away, sometimes I'll be above the knee and I'll have good control. Sometimes maybe I'll be right above the knee, so as she goes to run away, I lose her. Okay? And we have to switch and climb back up. But we climb from below the knee, however it may be, up to the hips. Now we can start attacking either from turtle or from 4-point, which we'll do later as my partner goes to move away. And then we're attacking behind our partner. We've converted a takedown into a potential score by chasing my partner's back and getting 2 hooks in. Okay, so this time, come on. We put her down. The second we put her down, she immediately, as she's falling, 2 hands come to the same side, and she goes to move away. So we go in, we shake her down. Or right in the hips. Now when she goes to run away, we get the follow to one side and chase my partner. So what this is going to look like is, we'll put her down. We'll do like a little bit fast. We'll put her down. She goes to run away, climbing up the leg, get to the hips, and then settle on one side. I'm going to put her down from here. And we're ready to go. Okay, you saw this in my match with Andre. I came up, then hit a single from the feet. When I came up into a single, I climbed up the leg to the waist, came to rear body lock. He tried to stand up in scrimmage. I hit a Diashi. He tried the Granby, followed the Granby, ended up on top, got my score. There was no points, but got top position, and then played from there. So if I see now, my partner's like, screw this, I'm going to try to limp leg out. A lot of times, because there's no shoes, your partner will try to limp leg out. So she's a single on me, and she goes to sit me down from here. People will try to do this. I'll try to just go with it and limp leg out. Whenever you see the hands coming to one side, the upper body turning away, climb the leg, get to the hips, and then attack from turtle or 4-point. All right, so now what happens is a lot of times you put your partner down and your partner immediately gets into a heist before you can hit any of the previous moves. Whenever I see that my partner immediately goes to heist, we're going back into standing takedowns. So this is the integration of standing and ground coming together, where I put my partner down, I would like to get a score, but a lot of time the scrimmage continues and we have to use the initial takedown to get into a better position so we can work through a hierarchy of standing positions until we eventually get to a score, okay? Well, we don't want us to hit a single. We did all that work to put my partner down, and she just limp legs out, gets back to standing. Now we're back in neutral. Now we got to start all over again. Once I have a connection, your goal is to keep the scrimmage going as long as possible until you get to a score. So whenever I see that I put someone down, one of the most common scenarios is I put her down, she falls down to a knee and a shin, or she hits a hip and she bounces right back up. The second I see this, we're going to convert it from a low single into a high single and take the leg up nice and high. So whenever I see I put someone down, she falls maybe to a shin. The second I see that she goes to get back up from here, now all of her weight is on that far leg, okay? When she's standing, she can make this leg very heavy. So she can start putting a strong whizzer on, she can put the leg down heavy. So now when I try to lift it up, it's gonna be hard from here. But when I put her down and she's down on the knee, now this leg is weightless. All the weight's on her right knee. So as she goes to heist up from here, I use that opportunity, go ahead, to take it up to a high single. Now when she goes to stand up, she gets back up, but I have a high single instead of a low single, and now we can go in and start making things a lot easier from there, okay? So we can go in, I put my partner down, I feel like all the previous moves failed, and she's a little bit too fast. Whenever I see that, we just use that opportunity to take everything up nice and high. Whether it be to the inside hip, or whether it be to the outside hip. So now when she goes to stand up, she can do it, maybe. But when she goes to do it, it's a pretty easy thing now for me to counter because the leg's high now and I have a much better position. So I use the failed single to get a much better position, get the leg up nice and high, and then attack from there. So if I fail the initial score, I keep the scrimmage going and I just work into better and better positions until I can eventually work into a score, fatiguing my partner, getting to a pin, a back take, or a submission. All right, so now let's look at taking it to the inside hip and different ways that we're gonna have to score and just the subtleties on how my partner's falling and where her legs are relative to my body. When I take my partner's leg up into my inside hip from this single leg, and we're here, and now I gotta put her down. Let's just say that I just grab my partner's knee, for example, and I foot sweep my partner, I put my partner down to the floor in this position. You see now that instead of being between my partner's legs, I have my partner's legs flanked, all right? In the previous one, we were here. So now when she goes to start heisting, there's a dilemma that she can play between playing ashigarami and heisting up. Here, I have my partner's legs shelved. So now, if she goes to start heisting from here, she goes to start turning away, the back is immediately exposed, all right? If she tries to start turning towards me from here, we can shelf the leg. We can start closing the distance. So if she tries to start coming towards me and facing me, we can start passing my partner's guard. We can do all kinds of things where we can start making it hard for my partner to heist and to maintain guard from here. So the position now has changed because I'm landing in a position where I'm past my partner's legs in a flanking position and I have control of the leg, and it's going to change the scrimmage from here. And again, these subtle differences make such a huge difference because of the fact that everything is happening so quickly. All right, if I land between the legs, I do a certain set of things. If I have control of the leg. If I land outside the legs, now it's a completely different thing where now I can pass the guard a lot easier. I can take my partner's back a lot easier. I can go to outside camping a lot easier. Makes it a lot harder for my partner to deny me the score when I land just immediately flanking the legs with control of the single. So let's run through some of these scenarios right from here. Okay, so the second that our partner falls from the single, we end up in a position like this. Okay, where she falls to her back, she falls down to her butt, and she's ready to play guard. Understand that the second that I fall into this position, the first thing I want to start to do is I already want to get her into the mindset of I'm playing guard from here. So the second I fall into this position, I'm not even like, you know what, I'm going to score on this person. I'm like, you're flanked and you're getting a guard pass right away. Okay, in ADCC, this is a clean takedown. It's the most points you can score under the ADCC rules. If I can take my partner down and immediately land in a side control, immediately land in a mount, north-south, I'm getting the most points available to me under the rule set, okay? So the second I land in this flanking position, we have control of the single here. The second we land in this position, we immediately take the hand to the hip and we go right into an outside camping position, okay? This will immediately get your partner in the headspace of, man, my guard's about to get past from here, I have to recover. So they're immediately gonna do one of two things. They're gonna start turning towards you, doing one of three things. They're gonna accept the score and just recover guard. Or they're going to start turning towards you and try to wrestle up, or they're going to turn away from you and expose their backs. So whenever I see this, the second we land in a position like this, the second she goes to start the scrimmage, we go hand to the far hip, hand to the knee. So when she goes to start her scrimmage, go ahead. If she turns away from me, now we have the back. Okay? If she's like, my guard's going to get past from here, and she goes to maintain guard, I fight. She goes to retain guard. I fight. Then I give her a guard. Okay? And now I give her a guard, but I've got my points. So I'll fight hard tactically for 3, 4, 5 seconds. I'll fight to pass her guard. I'll let her maintain the guard, and then I'll backtrack into the leg. I'll give her a guard, but now I have my score. Okay? Or the second we land here is as you're going to come down from this position, she immediately will try to punch an underhook in and start trying to shoot her leg through from here and start to wrestle up and come up into my legs. Okay? The second I see that someone goes to start turning towards me, immediately V grip goes right to the armpit. Just like we did for camping. The second we see that she goes to start getting up from here, we just immediately shut everything down. Now her leg shoots through and she goes to get up, we just circle towards the hips. We make everything hard. Now when she goes to wrestle from here, we just walk everything down. We control those hips, we control the upper body, and make it hard for her to beat us right from that position. If at any point, as we talked about before, if at any point from here, we miss the V grip in the armpit, and she goes to get up, and we lost the leg, we just touch the far hip. Now we just cycle back through everything we looked at before. When we pass the legs without connection, now when she goes to get up from here, we just make it hard, and we can play right from this position. Okay? So, when I land with this single, let's take it from the thumb. We take it up to the inside hip and put our partner down. The second we end up in this position, we immediately start the crowd from here. Now, right from here, the second she goes to start pointing her knees towards me and trying to get her feet back in position, we just run everything to an outside camping position. Now, she goes to turn away, we're attacking turtle. She goes to turn towards me and wrestle up. V grip comes in, we just circle towards the hips, and we control. We miss the V grip, and we just touch our partner's far hip. So now when she goes to get up from here, pretty easy thing to control and get our score. If at any point, you can crowd your partner. We end up here. And we can crowd our partner. We can just move into a leg drag position and just connect knee and elbow. Now from here, when she goes to get up, it's going to be hard. We can just make her carry weight. It'll be impossible. She can get up to the elbow eventually. But as she does, we can go in, we can climb to the upper body. We can play a game where right from here, we can move to the wrist, start riding the far wrist, start leg riding, and play this game, which we'll look at in a minute when we start moving to chest to chest, upper body takedowns. I can start getting in here. Or now when she goes to scrimmage, it's going to be hard from here. And now we can play a game where we can effectively score. So whenever I see that from here, we put our butt to the floor, I'm always trying to get her into the mindset of your guard is flanked and you're about to get passed. Trying to get her into the mindset of, okay, the score's already gone. I just don't want to get my guard passed in addition to getting scored on. And I just start playing a flanking game. Whether I can point the knees away from me and turn it into more of a leg drag scenario, which is unlikely if someone's good, they're going to immediately start flailing and turning away from you, exposing their back, or start recovering and bringing their knees in. When the knees come in, go right to outside camping. If they try to wrestle up towards you, V-grip the armpit. If you miss the V-grip, control the far hip. If they turn away from you, control the hip, go tight waist, chase the back. You can crowd them and go into a leg drag, connect knee and elbow, make it hard. Get to the far wrist and just ride people. So the second I see that she goes down, wherever she chooses to go from here, if you're flying around, she's hopping. She goes down, wherever she chooses to go. We're following, ready to go, and now we can get our score and go to work. And we can read where she's going to go. We know exactly with which directions that she can go in, and we can play from there. She can either turn away from me, she can turn towards me, or she can just accept guard and play from there. We have reactions to all three of those. We have counters to all three of those reactions from her. All right, so this time, let's say we put our partner down from this high single on the inside hip. We put our partner down, and the second we put our partner down, she kind of stumbles, and falls down to her knee and shin. And the second we end up here, she heists up, and now we're in this position. All right, so right from here, we're in the same exact starting position as we were with the low single if we took it up to the inside hip and started working around behind our partner. So understand that you can get to these same positions. Obviously, it's not groundbreaking information, but if you start with a high single leg, you put your partner down into the same positions that you would end up in if you started in a low single. Here, you put your partner down, and then you shelved it on the inside hip. So now from here, when she goes to start moving away, now we can start getting to that far hip, start chasing the back, and start moving into situations like this, okay? So we can start moving into positions that we were in before, starting from the high single on the inside hip, where I put my partner down, and then we immediately have the leg shelved, and we can go into similar attacks that we went into before. All right, so this time we put our partner down. She doesn't fall all the way to her back. She doesn't fall down to a knee, but she falls kind of in this hybrid area where she falls down to the hip, and we have the leg. So right from here, we go in, we circle our partner down, or we push our partner down, and she falls to a hip like so. Right. The second I see that my partner goes to fall to a hip, now we know that she's going to scrimmage from here. If she falls to a hip and gets to an elbow, she starts building height, or maybe she falls to her back and immediately comes up and starts building height. We know she's going to scrimmage from here. The second I see this, all we're going to look to do is we're going to look to start, if we can, stepping in and crowding, because we know she's going to start turning away briefly to start heisting from here. Right? As she goes to heist, I want to start crowding her to make it hard for her to heist and control that second hip. So right from here, we just put a hand over top of our partner's knee, and we just shoot ourselves into a position where we can get up and over our partner's knee, like so. Okay. Now this can be a little bit difficult if your partner's posting on you. Okay, either here or the cross shoulder. It'll be a little bit difficult, but as she goes to start turning, she's going to have to take the hand across and start heisting like this. It's hard for her if she's here. If she goes to heist from this position, it's harder for her to do so if I just circle. So she's going to have to start taking the hands to the floor, so now she can legitimately get up and heist. And now she can heist up from here. So the second I see that we fall into this position, all we're going to do is we're just going to put a hand above the knee. Now, as she goes to start turning away from me, we just grab a collar tie like so. Now, right from here, we just connect knee and elbow. Now, the whole thing is, whether she's here or whether she's here posting, I wanted to use the collar tie to start putting her top shoulder down towards the floor. So I have her hips controlled with my left knee in this leg drag position. So the whole thing now is I just circle towards my partner's head and use the collar tie to make it hard for her to start extracting that leg. So as she goes to get up again, you can always win the battle here, okay? What she needs is she needs to build height and extract this leg and get up. And now you can start heisting and playing from here. So once I control that hip, I control the lower body through my knee, I go to the upper body. So now when she goes to get out from here, we can circle her down and go into a good score, right into a flanking position. We're ready to pass and get more scores or submissions, whatever the case is. So this time, we're here. I circle her down, and she lands, and she immediately goes start heisting up from here. The second I see this, we cover the knee. Right? The second I cover the knee, whether she's posting, whatever the case is, as she goes to start scrimmaging, go ahead. we just track that hip. We go in for the collar tie, and we're just always looking to trap that bottom leg. What I don't want is her taking that bottom leg, heisting out, and now she can start scrimmaging. So I always look to crowd that bottom hip. The second she goes to turn away, we're always crowding that bottom hip. Right? If from here, I can get to that bottom hip, and control it with my knee, and put my knee on the floor, we can go collar tie or claw, whatever the case is. Now when she goes to get up, it's going to be hard. If I see that she beats me and scissors the legs, now we can just go in and start chasing the back. Okay? So if I see from here that she beats me, let's say she turns all the way belly down, which is probably going to be the next move, as she just turns away from me, but I'm just combining it here because I got ahead of myself. But if from here, I see that I can control the bottom hip by putting my knee down to the floor and split the legs in a way that's favorable to me. Now when she goes to scissor the legs, it's going to be not impossible, but difficult. Let's say I go to crowd her and she immediately scissors the legs. We just switch right to a tight waist. Now we're on our partner's back. Okay, so now what we have is a way to react wherever my partner chooses to go, whether he turns away or turns towards me. As she goes down, she goes to move. We can always go in, start controlling those legs, and make it hard for our partner to scrimmage out and away. Okay, let's see if she turns towards me this time. We put her down. We're flanking. Now we have our score, and we're ready to go. All right, so now we can go in and we can play with a high single, but on the outside hip. So now when we go to the outside hip, now we put our partner down from these positions where between the legs, and now everything changes, accordingly, because now we're not flanking our partner, but we're caught between the legs, right? Which actually, it gives her a better ability to play guard against me and attack me with her legs after the score. But it actually makes it easier for me to score because I'm between the legs and I can control both legs a lot easier because now I'm actually intertwined in the leg. Wes, here we go. Here we go. What? Tell them.
I've been here for 45 minutes. I think this was it.
She just started.
I'll keep explaining. Go on.
So when she actually goes down from this position, however it may be, now I'm between the legs, and now her leg is shelved to my hip. So it's not here, like if we fall, and now from here, let's say she can post her foot on the floor and use not trim, but use this to elevate me. She can use this to elevate me, and now she can start doing it to attack. Now I'm directly between the legs. When she tries to off balance me from here, it's impossible. And if she does go to get up from here, it's hard because now I have the leg shelved to my hip, and everything's a lot easier. So the score is actually pretty easy from this position. And let's go through some ways we can score. My partner falls down to her butt, down to her knee, and then down in her hip. All right, so let's look at putting her down where she falls to her butt. Just stay there. When she falls to her butt and her back, and we have the leg shelved, right? Right from this position, it's going to be pretty easy for me to score. Okay, the leg is shelved, but if she tries to heist from here, you can lift the hips off the floor. Like if she goes to quickly heist, I can just lift the hip off the floor and start running and circling her down. Because the leg is in the middle, it's hard for her to off balance me. It's hard for her to go to ashigarami. It's hard for her to really do anything from these positions. So when we fall, we have good control of the leg. Immediately, the second we fall, we immediately crowd the second hip. I always go in and I control the second hip. And now, because of the fact that her leg is shelved to my leg, I can release the grip, whether it be just on the knee, whether it be an Achilles. I can release this grip and just come in, just post two hands on the floor and just join knee to elbow on both sides. So as she starts sitting up from here, wants to play guard, scrimmage, whatever the case is, we're just going to go in, crowd the far hip, grab a collar tie, and then just connect knee and elbow. We play right from here. Now if she tries to scrimmage, so we can control both legs. We can force her into half guard, and the scrimmage is going to be so difficult. Such a amazing scrimmage. attempt from Sunny on back.
All right, let's do that. Let's go there.
Like just a little wiggle jiggle. Okay, so we go in here. The second we shelf this, we can release the grip we have in the leg, because now It's not on the inside anymore. If I release it now she can kick it through. She can do all kinds of things to start attacking me. She can't really attack me because I have the inside position. So I can release this, and we just grab the far hip. We grab a hold of the collar tie, and we connect knee and elbow. So the second she goes to start scrimmaging, we can control pretty easy from here and get our score. That was a little bit better. Okay? Now we have our score, and we're ready to go. All right, so I just want to run through this real quick. We've seen this already. This is the same as when you start with a low single leg. Just do this here. Same as when you go to a low single leg and you shelf it on your outside hip. You're in the same position as you would be in here. But from here, I can just go in. I can get to a reverse collar tie, and I just lift and run my partner down. It's the same idea, except for this time, we're starting in this position. So we initially put our partner down, and we already have the leg shelved. So instead of having to put our partner down from a low single and then shelf it to a high single and then start running in from this position, we just start off with the leg on the outside hip. We break her down, and she falls. Come up. So we go from here, we have everything on the outside hip, and then from here, we sit our partner down, however it may be, and she falls, maybe she steps over my foot, falls down to a knee. We end up here. Now we just go in, we have the leg on the outside hip, and we just go into all the previous moves when the leg is shelved on the outside. All right, so this time we have kind of a hybrid where she's not really fully ready to play guard. She's not really fully ready to spring up, and we kind of break her down to a hip and an elbow. So she ends up here. She ends up down on a hip and an elbow, where now she wants to start scrimmaging from this position, okay? Right from here, because the leg is shelved, if she does get up, then I just bring the leg back up high, right? But it's a pretty easy thing from these scenarios to just take a leg to the inside, whether you start on the outside or the inside, take a leg to the inside, and then control my partner at the collar tie, and then just shelf my partner's leg like so, and play right from here. So now when she goes to get up, the leg is shelved. She can't scissor the legs. She can't take this leg through. What she needs is to scissor the legs and to take this leg forward and the bottom leg back, and that allows her to get out from here. So because the top leg is shelved, now when she goes to get up, we just lean weight towards that top hip and control that top hip. So now when she goes to get up, we just put everything back to the floor, and we can play right from here. If you see, and you put your partner down, you see in the beginning of the clip, my leg started on the outside. If you see this, I just force her into half guard. So if we're in here, then I use a shin pin, and we play and we just dominate the hip with the knee. If we see that her legs split mine, then we just force her into a half guard. So right from here, instead of going up to the collar tie, we just come right to the knee first. As she goes to get up, we just force her right into half guard, and now she goes to build height. We go to the collar, and now we can return her to the floor, force her into half guard, and play from here. Okay, well, we'll look at more exchanges of moving into half guard and climbing to the upper body on the chest-to-chest takedowns. But the main thing is that when your partner tries to scrimmage up from a position where you knock them either all the way down to a back or down to a hip here, and she tries to scrimmage, the main thing is dominating the far hip. So either touching the far hip with the knee, stepping over into half guard, getting to control of the head, and then stopping your partner from scissoring the legs. Anytime we can stop them from scissoring the legs, it's going to be hard for them to turn into a belly down position and start to scrimmage. All right, so now we're looking at a head outside single. I always am looking to put my partner down first from here, but a lot of times she can drag me down into a game where she can start exposing my back and submissions and other things from here. So this gets a little bit tricky. When I have a head inside single, if she tries to drag me down on top of her with a single, she can't really do it. If she has a strong wizard, she has a wrist, and she tries to pull me down with her, I can always just let her fall down first, and I can follow her down. Where when I have a head outside single, and we're playing from here, now she can take an over back grip. She can start to grab my hamstring. So now when I go to put her down, she can physically pull me down with her, and we can end up in crackdown scenarios like this. Now she can start scooting the corner, exposing my back, all kinds of things from here. Okay. We're going to head outside finishes. Okay, we've looked at obviously putting our partner down with a head outside finish, but we're going to look at situations where when my partner kind of drags me down with them, or I elect to go down with her, and then how we can score right from there. from a crackdown scenario, which is kind of dicey when you're talking about jiu-jitsu, which we'll look at in a second. But we're going to look at both allowing our partner to fall before us, and then situations where our partner pulls us down with them, or we go down with them for whatever reason, how we can score off of that and have an advantageous position after the scrimmage. All right, so anytime I can let my partner fall first and my head pops out, whether you have the shelf on the inside hip, the outside hip, the leg between, all of the moves become the same. So if at any point I have a head outside single, just so you guys can visually see it, if at any point I dump my partner from a head outside single and the legs between, I dump her and she goes down first. Okay, now we're in a situation where we're exactly where we would land, as if, just fall down, as if we were in a head inside single. Okay, if I dump my partner and she has her leg shelved here, now from here, when she falls down, the head pops out. I have the leg shelved and I have it on the outside hip, or I have it on the inside hip. Okay, we can play, right from these positions, whether it's inside or outside hips. And my partner plays, we played the same game with our partner as we would from a head inside single, with a head outside single, assuming my partner goes down before me. So if you put your partner down before you just revert back to all of the moves that we did before, because the head position doesn't matter. The head position only makes a difference when your partner drags you down and you end up with your head outside the hip in a crackdown position. Now things are different. But if you put them down first and then you just follow right from there, which is why you see most of my ADC, my ADCC 2017, the times where I would usually use head outside singles, it's always they go down first, I go down second, and then we just converted to all the moves we looked at previously. So if they go down first, just use all the previous moves. If you go down with them, then we have to go to other things from crackdown to solidify the score. All right, so now let's look at crackdown. We've looked at this a little bit in past instructionals, and it is vastly different when you move into territory where the person who's on defense, with their butt on the ground, doesn't have to worry about back exposure, exposing their back to the floor, and it's actually trying to expose your back to them, and also when there's submissions involved. All right, so most of the things you see when you're in this crackdown scenario, we're here, and she takes me down, right? In wrestling, usually the guy on top is in a pretty good position. But in jiu-jitsu, all I have to do is scoot to a corner, and now I have a crotch lock, and now I can start pulling her forward and start exposing her back. And now it doesn't matter if my back hits the floor. We have crossbody right, and now we can actually start turning this around and taking my partner's back from here. Okay. In addition to this, what you'll see wrestlers start doing is things like they have a crackdown here, and what I'll start doing is they'll start shelving my leg on the outside of the hip. They'll start reaching down with the hand. They'll start pulling the leg up, and they'll start pulling people into situations like this so they can score. This is great for wrestling. The problem is that when you start shelving the leg on the outside of the hip, you pull yourself directly into all the different forms of triangles from here. And then you go into Hantai Senkaku, Mote Senkaku, and the second you try to hit a traditional wrestling score, I've done this a million times with wrestlers, they put you down with a high crotch, and they crack you down with the head outside single. And you end here, and now you start to scrimmage, and as you're going to start heisting, they're like, nope, I'm going to take away the heisting leg. Because what I need to do, is to heist in this direction. So she's like, nope, I'm gonna shelf the heisting leg, which is great. That's perfectly reasonable thing to do, is to shelf that leg. If she shelves the leg on the hip, like most wrestlers do, now when I try to heist, you just can't heist out of it. But different rules. They fall back, and now the guy's in a triangle, now you're getting finished. So this position is vastly different when you move from wrestling into jiu-jitsu territory, and we have to plan for this accordingly. If we take someone down and they force us into this crackdown position, which is kind of almost a better position for the guy on bottom getting taken down than it is for the guy on top. So we're going to look at how to deal with this when we have different rules and obviously submissions involved. All right, so one way that we can manage this problem right away is when we sit our partner down with the head outside single, and she forces us into this crackdown position. So we come in and we have this head outside single, and from here we get to crack our partner down, but she uses an overback grip and maybe most common is she uses an overback grip and a hamstring, where I'm going to put her down and I kind of get dragged into this position here. Okay. If my shoulder starts slipping out from behind the hip, I'm going to get beat from here. All right. This isn't like a whole crackdown instructional. This is just like secure, making a whole instructional on this. But my shoulder needs to stay inside the pocket of my partner's hip. So now when she goes to scoot, I can put pressure down into the hip. If there's no pressure into the hip, she's going to beat me. Right? So one of the things that I can do is as I'm falling, instead of falling with my hand between the legs, or right as I fall, before she can lock a crotch lock and start to go into offense, is right from here, we can immediately switch where my right hand comes out, my left hand feeds through, and we just make a transition into a double leg. If we can get across to the far hip and far leg, now when she goes to take my back, she can't do it. And now if I can switch to a double, now when she goes to move around from here, we can just go and start running half up on his legs. We can start stepping over, figure fouring, which we'll look at a little bit later. And we can start playing in these positions and go to work. If we can switch to a double, which we'll look at finishing head outside doubles later when we get to double leg section. But if we can switch to a double, we'll be in good position. So right as I put my partner down, or as she's moving down, what I'll do is as I'm going to put her down, she tries to move me into crackdown. We will fall into a double leg. So we'll make a transition from a head outside single into a head outside double, and we'll switch off and either switch to a double as we're falling, or we hit the floor, and the second we hit the floor, we immediately lean forward and we switch, we pull a hand out, and we move across to a double leg. So we convert from a head outside single to a head outside double, and then we can work from there much easier. All right, so my general recommendation from this position, and again, I could spend I can make a whole instructional about this, but my general recommendation when you get cracked down into this position is using a rolling method rather than if you feel like you can't switch across to a double. So the first thing is switching across to a double. The problem is that once you're actually in the position, so once we're here and we start playing here, once we're actually in the position, I'm going to post a tricep. So now when she goes to flare across to a double, she can't. Then I'm going to block the tricep with my leg, and I'm going to come to the hamstring. So now when she goes to flare across to a double, she can't, and I control the hamstring. Then I'm going to start pulling the hamstring towards me to slip the shoulder outside the hip, and then I'm going to get to a crotch lock, and now things just degenerate from here. Okay, you saw this in my Lucas Barboza match, where I just used this crotch lock to come up and take his back, which won me the match in the semifinals of ADCC 2019. So once you're actually down and you feel like you can't flare across to a double, I generally recommend just using a rolling method to either go into a cross body ride and a back take, or just roll all the way through and then continue the scrimmage from there. So whenever I see that I crack someone down from this position, from this head outside single, and I'm forced to follow this person down, whenever we're in a position like this, all I'm going to look to do is look to shoot my shoulder further than she wanted it to go. So I'll come in here, and as she wants to start scooting the corner, I'll let her scoot the corner, and I'll just go right into a forward roll, and use that to immediately invert my right knee, because we're essentially 50-50 from here. We can both take each other's backs. My whole thing is when I go to invert, I want my hips lower than hers, so I can invert my right knee and get into this position here. If I can invert the right knee, I can get my hips underneath hers, and then I can lock up with I can post my partner's leg, which I generally, you can do it sometimes, but she can pull my leg and Tashi grab it from here. So I generally prefer just going ankle to ankle, and then just putting 2 feet down to the floor. Here. So now, wherever she chooses to go from here, we can go in and we can follow, and we can just use it to put her down, keep the scrimmage going, and then end up in a situation where I have one hook in on my partner's back. So what this will look like is, we come in, I go to sit her down with the outside single. She goes to force me into a crackdown. I feel like I can't flare across the double in time. She go right into a half roll, into cross body ride, and take partner's back. Okay, so we're starting the scrimmage. I go to sit her down from here. She puts me into a crackdown. And now we're ready to go into all of our attacks from cross body ride onto our part. Right, sometimes it'll be a little bit more delayed. You will go right into a roll. So I'll sit her down right from here. as I come down with her, we'll be fighting here for a second. Now, I'll try to make it flare across to a double. I feel like it's not there. As she goes to scoot the corner, we just invert and we get to a situation where we have that inverted knee. And a lot of times we end up here. We can't do it right away. So we're fighting, jousting. I have a shovel underneath my partner's hips. I'm wedging the hips in place. So now when she goes to take my back, she can't get her hips low. And I just work to an angle from here. Or now we can go in, collect the far shoulder, get diagonal control, and work into a finish with 2 hooks in. So if I feel like I can't flare across to a double, and I want to get the score still, I keep the scrimmage going by going into a roll, going into crossbody ride, getting a hook in, and then working from there. All right, so now let's look at rolling all the way through. A lot of times when we try to go into this crossbody ride roll, your partner is like, we're going to keep the scrimmage going, and they go into a back roll as you do it, and you end up all the way through. And so this is where the scrimmaging starts to look beautiful, all right? So from here, we have the hand inside, we limp the shoulder out, and as we limp the shoulder out, we roll through, and we end up in a situation like this. Now, you're in an interesting situation from here, okay? Because now I'm seated, and we both have overback grips. If from here, she can elbow cut with her right elbow back in and lock the body or switch to a double, now it's going to be hard for me to scrimmage. And now I have to like whiz her and start getting hands to the floor and defending body lock. Now I'm trying to heist up and then the scrimmage keeps going, right? But if I can keep weight on the hand, so when she goes to elbow cut, I'm putting weight constantly towards the hands, and then immediately I can start butt dragging and building height. Now we can go in, and now we have a hook in, and we've used a full roll to keep the scrimmage going. Now I'm behind her internal position. So he went from a head outside single to a crackdown to an attempted crossbody ride to a full roll through, and then into a scrimmage from there. And hopefully we get 2 hooks in, or at least 1 hook, and then work from there. Okay, so what this looks like is you start to get these sequences where they're like 5, 6, 7 moves deep, where you try to go in, you put her down, she drags you down, you try to switch to a double, when you feel like it's not going to happen, you roll through, and then we get our score, and you start to get deeper and deeper into the scrimmage, keeping contact the whole time, and that's where you get these beautiful exchanges where you're like, wow, that was high level. That we're starting to build into that now, where the partner forces you into a crackdown, she knows what she's doing, and we're still winning the scrimmages because we know exactly where to go based on her reactions. All right, so now let's look at situations where you put your partner down and the leg, whether your partner moves to the inside or outside hip, your partner moves the leg and you just end up in a different leg configuration. When you're not in a crackdown where your partner's leg is on the inside, or between your legs, but it's on the inside hip and it's shelved like so. Okay, a lot of times people will transition to this to try to go into a Twargeshi with front chest locks, things like this, or you just end up, falling there. A lot of times you fall there and your partner takes a foot out, or you just end up in a configuration where your partner's leg is not directly between your legs. Okay, whenever I see that we're in positions like this and we fall, if she just falls down to her back and my head can pop out, I'm always just going to inside scoop the leg from the inside to the outside and just lift the leg right away and go right into a shelf of this leg. So now from here, if she tries to turn away from me, we can just connect knees and elbows like we did before in this flanking position. Or if she turns towards me, now we can go right to outside camping and play the same game that we did before when we had our partner flanked. Okay. The issue is that when we follow our partner down, most of the time she's going to keep her head high. So whenever I see that from here, she keeps her head high and she uses an over back grip, now I start running into some problems from here. Okay. The good news is that she has no connection of her legs to mine. Here, I start running into an issue where now from here she can use her legs intertwined in mine to start exposing my back. The good news is that when I get to this position, when she goes to start taking my back, she doesn't have her first hook in. So it's a little bit easier from here. So all we're going to look to start doing right from this position is we're going to start to immediately, if I can pull that right hand out like we did before, we're just going to shelf everything up nice and high, and now we're just going to switch to a grip over our partner's back and take a claw. Now when she goes to start the scrimmage from here, they just return back to the floor, dominate the far hip, and we can circle our partner down and control nice and easy from there. That kind of kills the scrimmage. Where now if she tries to turn away from me, it's very labored. You can probably get a score from here. If not, then we go and switch to a tight waist and chase our partner's back. Okay. So if I see that we're here, and we can shelf the leg like so, we can take the hand out, and now we have a variety of things we can do. We can move to a body lock from here, and then put the back on the floor. Or the best option is switching to a claw grip. Now, try to scrimmage. Got it. It's a pretty easy thing to return your partner's back to the floor, get the score, and now you can start splitting the legs. You can start leg riding. You can do all kinds of things from here where you can solidify a score and control your partner for long amounts of time. Okay? If I see that for whatever reason, it'll be hard for me to extract this arm. It's maybe I shelf the leg and she's posting in the tricep like this and I just like I can't extract the arm. Then from here, I just play a basic game. If I see I can't pull the arm out, the reason I can't pull the arm out is because she's posting on my tricep with her hand. If she posts on my tricep with her hand, all we're going to do is just put her far shoulder down to the floor. Here. And now when she goes to move from here, she has to start scrimmaging, otherwise she'll get scored on, and then we can build up to the upper body and work into attacks right from there. I play a basic dilemma game. If I end up outside, basically a tri-lemma game. If I end up outside of my partner's legs and my head is down low, if at any point her back hits the floor, my head's up high, and now we just revert to all the things we've looked at previously. If I see that her head is high from here, if her head is high from here and she has a post hand on the floor and she's trying to scrimmage out and away, as she goes to heist from here, go ahead. It's hard because I can control my partner's hips through my right shoulder. So when it's time for me to go, I just shelf the leg, we switch to a claw. Now when she goes to heist, we just circle, put her hips down and shoulders down and get the win. Okay? If I see that I'm trying to go into a heisting position or go into a claw grip where my hand gets stuck in the middle, where she's posting, now I just put my knee right between her legs, I dominate the far hip, I just put the far shoulder on the floor. So when she goes to scrimmage up, take my back, and then now I can win the scrimmage nice and easy from here. So we play a trilemma where we either put the back on the floor, we take the arm out and switch to the claw, switch to the body, or we just dominate the far hip, put the far shoulder on the floor, and then pull our arm out later. Okay, so if we end up in this position where we put our partner down from a head outside single, and our head is trapped down towards the inside bottom hip, those are some ways that we can secure a score in a flanking position where we don't have our head higher than our partner's head. Okay, this time, because our head is low, our partner can switch in the direction she's heisting. Right? So, if she just tries to extract and heist away from me, and she tries to just get up in this direction, I have her right hip pinned. Okay? But from here, if she switches and puts a whizzer on, with a post hand out, now she can heist with a strong whizzer, and she's using her right leg to heist against my arm. So it's basically it's legs versus hands from here. Okay, legs versus arms. So now when she goes to heist, she can actually put me in kind of move into back crucifix territory, and everything kind of falls apart from here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, if I see she goes to switch heist, if at any point I can build head height and just bring my head up off the floor, that's going to help me from here. So if at any point we're here and the whizzer's not in, as she goes to start transferring over to the whizzer, if I can just start building height and get my head up nice and high, we can kill this whole thing right from the beginning. All right. Now, if we can't do that, what we're going to look to start doing is returning her back to the floor by something that it looks kind of silly and kind of stupid, like it wouldn't work, but it's very effective. All right. We talked about in seated guard stand up, using ashiwazas and teiwazas to start harassing our partner's feet and pulling in line with the toes along the floor in the same direction the toes point to get feet moving. Okay, whether it be here, whether it be here, and we can get feet moving. The same is true with hands. So whenever I see that she goes to switch into a whizzer and goes to start building height, whenever I see this hands here, as she goes to put weight on this hand, all we're going to look to do as she goes to heist is we're just going to clip this hand out. We just hit down by the wrist and push along the mat in the line that the fingers point. So as she goes to heist up, we just return to the floor and we take our hand out and just switch across to the far side of waist. So now if she turns to face me, we can control her side control. We can go to outside camping, or we can switch to a tight waist if she goes to turn away. So if I'm here and I feel like a switch heist is coming, she has to have a support hand. All right. As she has a support hand, all the weight is going to be leaning onto that support, onto that the post hand. So right from here, she goes in. If she goes to turn away and heist, turn away. It's going to be hard, and gives me easy access to her back. If she goes to turn towards me and she goes to get my head down low, if she puts a strong wizard and goes to heist, it kind of backs my head down into this position. The second I see this, go ahead. We just back the hand out, and now we can cover and secure top position. And the worst case scenario, this will lead us into a whole different instructional. In the worst case scenario, if from here she does heist out, instead of just allowing her to unravel this inside scoop, go ahead, and ending me up with an elongated arm, as she goes to move out and away, no problem, go ahead. We just climb up to wizard versus underhook, and now we fight from wizard versus underhook, which this is a whole, I was going to try to include it in here, but it was like way too much information. So I'm going to do a whole instructional on scrimmaging from wizard versus underhook. But if I feel like I lose the leg, then we just move right to the hips. So we climb up the body. If I feel we can gain height, we win. But it's like I can't gain height, but I can put her down, then we can win. And if I feel like she's going to win, she's going to extract the leg. Let me just go in, we gather the hips, and now we can go and start playing right from there. So we can kill a switch heist because our head's low, so she can switch from one side to the other pretty easily, which she couldn't before because her head wasn't low in the other ones. It wasn't pinned against the hip. Whereas this time, she can switch heist pretty easy. So that anytime I can build head height and get my head off the floor, we can pin her. If we can not bring my head up, but bring her head down by collapsing the hand out, or if we feel like we lose it, then we just move legs up to hips and we work from there. All right, so now, like a lot of times when we take it to the outside hip, so we finish a single, and a lot of times your partner will try to fall into a triangle. So from here, if we go head outside single, and we dump this guy, a lot of times she'll try to get his foot to the outside of my hip, so that as we fall into kind of crackdown, but into triangle scenarios. Okay? Triangle. Where from here she can go in and start to attack triangles on me. Okay? So things are going to be happening quickly from here. If I see that her leg is trying to come to the outside, if we're doing it as we're falling, we can attempt to hop outside the opposite leg and switch to a double. Now, I wouldn't recommend this if you hit the floor or in a static position for any amount of time and then try to jump across, because then you can just end up in a mounted triangle. Okay, so you can do this. I know it's not wrong, but it is a little bit risky. All right, if I try to do it from here, and I try to jump across, and she just follows me, she can end up in a mounted triangle from here. So if this leg is high, and I try to jump across, we can end up in a situation where she can come up, and now she's mounted on top of me with a triangle, and things go south from there. So if we're doing it as we fall, so like, let's say we go to crack her down, she takes her leg to the outside, we can use the momentum to hop across to this side, and then take our elbow and cut back and switch to a double here. So now when she goes to scrimmage, we can turn and face, and now we can shelf the legs. We can play from here, or we can start stepping over the legs and play from here and go into figure fours and things we'll do later. That's the only one I use momentum. So if she's falling down, I feel like she goes to lock a triangle, and I can quickly jump over as we're falling. This is the time to switch across and jump over the far leg. So if her leg's on the outside hip, and I take her down, and from here, we can hop across, elbow cut, switch to double. Now, we can start playing a game where we can solidify a score and win the scrimmage from here. All right, but if we hit the floor, let's say we're standing up, I pick up a single, we switch to a head outside, we go to a dump, and she tries to take her leg to the outside. We end up here. This is no good. So now, the second I see, and we're in a position like this, I immediately right from here, we just blade the body and we find the ankle. If she leans back and she locks a triangle, it's going to be no good for me. So what I do from here is I just blade my body and we find the ankle, whether it be here, whether it be here. So now right from here, when she goes to shoot triangle, we just step over that leg, and then we work from a situation where the leg is between ours, and we work from there. Okay, so if I see that I can't immediately hop over, we never want to be here for any long amount of time. So I either step over, or if I feel like I can't get over, maybe the leg's a little bit too high already, then we just turn the hips and back step. So when she goes to shoot triangle, we step over, and now we can start playing from a regular crackdown position and work from there.